Probably someplace near LA.
It's really only 11:29.
I wonder why mine's ahead.
Ellie, do you want to start the recording? You're good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and start. We'll call this meeting to order for June 19th, 2024, the regular Board of Trustees meeting. Trustee Smith has agreed to lead some,
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Trustee Smith. Welcome. Ms. Henning, roll call.
Yep, there's a quorum.
Okay. I would like to, everybody have them look at the agenda and ask for any additions or deletions that we might have.
Chair McGrath,
Yes.
I'd like to make some additions. So can we please add the May budget workshop minutes to the consent agenda?
Okay,
Okay, and then in addition to that, under new business, can we add approval of First Amendment to agreement for purchase and sale of real property under the new business title?
okay.
And delete approval of fiscal year 2024-2025 budget from the new business.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Great work. Okay, I'm gonna take Palmer. It has been moved by Trustee Wasberger and seconded by Trustee Palmer to add the May budget workshop minutes to the consent agenda, add approval of the First Amendment to agreement for purchase of the sale of real property under the new business, and then delete the approval of the fiscal year 24-25 budget from new business. Any questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay. Moving on to the approval of the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
So moved by Trustee Anderson and seconded by Trustee Key to approve the consent agenda for the regular Gillette College Community District Board of Trustees meeting held Wednesday, June 19th, 2024. Questions, thoughts, discussions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Rocking and rolling. Moving on to the good of the district. Dr. Logan.
Chair McGrath, trustees, Bo Hawkins is unable to be with us today, but I'd be happy to tell you a little bit about his project, and then we hope we can come back to a board meeting here in the next few months. So last year, we awarded 2 innovation grants. You heard from Jason Olson last month on his project. I think there was a model that actually was going to be 3D printed, reprinted after being passed around the board. But anyway, you got to see his project, which is really exciting, and we look forward to him expanding that project. But Bo Corkins worked on a first-year seminar experience, and so he based a lot of his research, of course, on higher education and student retention and student success, and really had a really good opportunity to interact with colleagues both locally and within his circle of expertise. So he has developed, and the curriculum committee has reviewed his first-year seminar. And the point is that really it's an opportunity for us to engage with students at the beginning of their career at Gillette College and really prepare them for success throughout their tenure. So I look forward to him being able to come back and give you a little bit more detail on that. We did send Ashley Corkins, ironically, his spouse, to a first-year seminar conference in Seattle earlier in the year. So it's a focus for us, and it's a priority for us to really take a deeper dive and make sure our students have the skills that they need. So
Excellent. Anything else regarding that? Anybody? Questions? Probably not. It's not here. Good news from the trustees. Good news from the trustees. Anybody?
Happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth. Thank you.
happy anniversary to
58.
58. Compared to my wife.
I don't know if President Overlander will say, but our rodeo after spending a week down there. We, the men team took 8th in the nation and our women took 10th. Wow. We had a rough stock rider, Cooper Philback was 2nd in the nation. And Hayden Thompson was 3rd in the nation in go time.
Good for him.
Competing against Texas A&M, Tartlet, Montana State University,
University of Wyoming.
University of Wyoming. It was an excellent week for us.
How many other kids are coming back?
All of them have said they were coming back. There were a couple women that have just needed to go on to get their degrees, so they will not be coming back.
Hayden is returning, Cooper is returning, all of those
Staley's
who went to the
returning.
Santa Bar returning.
Ashland. Yeah, so
Congratulations.
Me, a bunch of kids.
we look. Each one in
Trustee what?
The All-Star Meet was very successful.
Yes,
Put on by the Booster Club.
yes.
Yeah. And the boys won for the first time in 22 years.
Yeah.
And they won both of them.
No, 22 times, 11.
Oh, 22
years.
times.
Yeah.
22 times.
first week though.
First sweep in maybe 22 years. Good for them. And congrats to the Booster Club and for their work in that. Thank you. Trustee Wasberger.
Well, speaking of rodeos, I wanted to share that our oldest grandson won the mutton busting contest in Nebraska Land Days in North Platte, Nebraska.
I'm so glad.
His sister has previously won, who's much younger, but he happened to beat her this year.
It's a lot of fortitude, right, a sheep.
Today is the first meeting that we all have access to the Gillette College Wireless Network in this building, so. thank
That
you
is
for our
good
access.
news.
It is.
And it is working swimmingly. Barry, you're online. Thank you, you too, for the whole team. Renee, thank you very much. I only have one minor thing. Next Wednesday is our annual customer appreciation barbecue so anybody in the room, trustees, but if you want to come down 4:30 to 6:30. Burger, hot dog, come on down, say hello, we're cooking. Anything else?
Your dad's good.
Yeah, a little bit, not much, mostly me, Jason Taylor. Organizational reports, Dr. Oglander, President's report.
Chair McGrath and trustees, thank you for the opportunity. We are into summer now, which means lots of opportunity for us to meet and regroup and have some really great in-depth conversation. But the first thing I want to do is some recognitions. And so as we have transitioned this district, we said we are going to present at national conferences. We're going to start presenting about this transition. Well, Renee Collins and Barry Lamson are the first to do such a presentation. And if any of you can tell me what RMUG stands for, I'll give you a mug.
Armlet?
RMUG. Renee, nobody can say they don't get a mug.
Users group, isn't
Yeah. Yeah. So it's the
Rocky Mountain Users Group.
Yes, the Rocky Mountain Users Group. And so they presented on standing up colleague staffs, which is Aleutian in the cloud. And so I don't know, Renee or Barry, do you want to give us any details on that or any additional insight? But they are the first two to present from Gillette College on this transition, and they were pleased to do that for us at RMUG. Barry or Renee?
Barry?
Sure. No, glad to talk about it. I think Renee was great at really representing Gillette College and talking about what we've done so far. That's what the report was about, how we've stood up SAS so far. No pressure. Aleutian was right there in the room because we had a few things to say about Aleutian as we were talking about it. And we made sure we gave some very direct and clear feedback on what the process has been like so far. And then what it's like moving forward, the amount of resources it's taking, the boots on the ground, as well as consultants involved, and really just talked up the really hard work everybody there at Gillette has been doing to make this happen. So we got a lot of positive feedback, even from Aleutian, even after we said a few things that might have been tough to hear, but they appreciated the direct feedback, and everybody seemed pretty happy about what they heard.
I think it's really important too that our board, but also, our board needs to understand that Aleutian is watching this project very closely, as our colleagues, because we are going out for RFP for a new system, and Barry can tell you the dates. I think by 2028 is when the new system will have to be stood up. So the time and the effort it takes to do what we're doing, stand up basically from scratch, is also what the other colleges would be doing. And migration is not easy. There's always kinks and there's always, so we really are helping our colleagues understand what it means to go up into the cloud and what it means. You're not migrating them yet, but we will have to after we come out of the test to go into live production. We'll have to migrate. So Lucian is very receptive to hearing feedback from us, and we appreciate that. And we made changes. They've made some changes based on our feedback. So Renee or Barry, anything to add to that RFP or that process?
Yeah, I do have a lot of thoughts actually. Fortunately among the CIOs, there's a big understanding that what it would mean to shift everybody away from one platform to another, the time, the work and the effort and the cost that it would mean to retrain everybody in the state to a completely different platform versus migrating your data from an on-prem server to a cloud server. A lot less cost, right? And a lot less training and a lot less user headache. There's still going to be headache, but somewhat less. And so I appreciated that most of the CIOs recognize that. And that, I said, I'm very selfish. I would hate to have to move our organization to a different platform altogether after we just took the time to stand this up. So that's my 2 cents to them, because I recognize the lift and the effort it's been so far.
And the presidents, none of the presidents of the community colleges are excited about a migration to a whole new system. So we'll see how it plays out. We'll be watching it very closely. Of course, our IT, Renee are very involved in those conversations. So we'll watch that as it goes on. The other reason that Barry Lanson has joined us today, so we can congratulate him on being named Forelli Core and SCI Employee of the Year because of his work with Gillette College. And so we're very excited for him. He's worked so closely on our project and certainly closely with our IT, and he's just been a joy to work with, and we appreciate when he's on site, but we also appreciate when we can connect with him almost instantly as we work through this massive heavy lift here at Gillette College. So, Renee or Barry, anything else you'd like to add? Congratulations, Barry.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Thanks for all your help. And I love Gillette. So thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. The other recognition I'd just like to really quickly do is that Miranda Finn yesterday provided a Writing in the Workplace seminar to members of our middle management and some of our frontline staff. And so I will no longer, when I respond to your emails and provide you updates, be doing that in red. And I will reduce my exclamation points. So, but she really did a great job, and we really appreciate her expertise. And we're at that phase now in this transition where we are so looking forward to embracing and utilizing the expertise we have on this campus to continue to provide professional development to our internal teams and staff, but also out to our community as well. So we really appreciate what you do them. Trustee Smith talked about the CNFR results. The only thing I would add was that the men's team finished 8th in the nation out of 54 teams, and the women 10th out of 33 teams. So we really should be proud of the a great article in the Cowboy State Daily on Hayden, if you were able to read that. But our athletes, I think rodeo athletes are pretty phenomenal, because Cooper got backed off, lost the national title by like 0.5 of a point. Half a point, and then he was behind the shoes helping other athletes get ready for their rides. And that's just the rodeo way, right? That's just what those athletes do. So pretty phenomenal group of young people who continue to compete for and ride for Gillette College. The National Leadership and Skills USA Conference is coming up in Atlanta, June 24th and 28th, and we're sending 3 contestants down to Atlanta. We'll certainly recognize both the achievements of our rodeo team and also Skills USA when we come back in the fall, when those athletes are back. And so the summer gives us, like I said, an opportunity for leadership to really, really take a step back and review the accomplishments of the year and start planning for the upcoming fall. So we'll be spending time this summer assessing and reviewing the strategic plan. You'll get an update on that either in July or August. It may be August by the time we get through the assessment and the review of that plan. And then, of course, we need to add another year, right? Because it's a 5-year plan. We're through year 1. And then we need to look at what the 5th year now looks like. We have an AI task force actively working right now. And so Dr. Fashbaugh, our Dean of Arts and Sciences, was charged with leading that group. He selected members for that team from across the campus, both faculty and non-faculty. Well, I think mostly faculty on that, because we really need to understand how that's going to impact how we deliver education at Gillette College. How are we going to use that? What are the appropriate uses? What are the ethical uses? Do we need any policies surrounding the use of AI on our campus? How do we need to update our syllabus, our syllabi to recognize that while AI is a tool, there are appropriate and non-appropriate uses. So I always think back to when I started my career, the World Wide Web was just launching, right? 30 years ago, 31 years ago, the World Wide Web. And we use it every day as a tool. AI is not going away, so we need to embrace it and figure out how to use it. So that task force will be developing a product. They'll be developing deliverables by the end of the summer for us to take a look at and review. The Cultural Assessment Working Group continues their work. We had an excellent meeting with Kathy Cox, who was on campus with us for 2 days. She met with the working group, with the cabinet, with a joint meeting, and then she met again with the working group to begin planning what their next steps are. This work will continue. It's not a box we're checking. It's not anything that we're going to be a one and done with, but it'll continue on. And Brian Yeager continues to lead that effort. Really good meetings. Brian will join us in July, and he'll provide. He and I will debrief with Kathy Cox before our next board meeting, and then Brian will come in and report on the work that continues to go on with that working group. And then, of course, we have the IT infrastructure migration that continues by the end of this. Well, by October, I think it's deleted. The Sheridan network will be decommissioned. Will be a standalone IT system at that point. So we're pretty excited about that. We're also going to start doing some work in the testing environment with the student modules. We'll start doing some registration with students as they prepare to come in for the fall. That's a pretty big deal because we're going to work out all of the kinks between Lucian. Element 451 is now up, our CRM, the way we communicate with our prospects. So we're going to take a group of students, at least 50, through the full process, where the kinks, so that by next fall we're registering students. So we're excited about that. Work continues on the entrepreneurship ecosystem. Dana Miller, under the Office of Economic Transformation, she and I are meeting bi-weekly. She has drafted an outline for what she believes needs to happen with the entrepreneur ecosystem. Heidi Gross is going to share some exciting news with you when she gives her report about more support for those efforts. But really, it's our opportunity as we redesign economic development for our county. What is the role that we're playing? And that's what Dana and I are focusing on. Again, in July, she'll join us at the board meeting and she'll give an update on how we're going to move that forward. And then the last thing I'll leave you with is, and the cabinet members who are here are going to roll their eyes when I say this because I've said it once now, I've said it probably 20 times. I really feel like we are ending phase 1 of this transition. It feels as though we're closing that chapter of all of our employees are here. We've marked some pretty significant milestones, and now we're entering phase 2. We plugged and played a lot of policies and procedures, and now phase 2, we really have to look, does it fit for the organization we want to become as Gillette College? And so I'm going to be working with Sandra Caldwell to define that, help me to define it and help me create that vision, and then bring that back to our executive leadership and of course to the board. And what it means, what does it look like when we finish with phase 2 and then we're into phase 3? So it just seems that we're done with phase 1 now. So that's what I'll be working on this summer and what your executive leadership will be working on as well. So I'm happy to stand for any questions you may have. Sorry.
Well, first off, I would start with congrats, Barry, on your accomplishment. That's amazing. We appreciate what you've done. Renee, your entire team, what you've done. Feels like it's moved mountains to get this going. And so well done. And the connectivity is quite exquisite, which is nice too in here, where it has not been so before. So thank you to that. Trustee Anderson.
You said that the Sheridan internet access is separating from Sheridan. Will students still have to do both, and will faculty still have to do both?
I will ask Renee or Barry to answer that question. My answer is yes, but she can give you details.
Yes, because,
I couldn't hear the question, sorry.
I would say yes. in those individuals that are still managing student work, so enrollment services, faculty with Canvas, because those systems are still shared and the students are still shared. And so yes, they will still have to be working in both environments. But we'll have in place, so as many individuals that we can put on a Gillette College device will be on a Gillette College device running on the Gillette network. Those that still need Sheridan, we will have that in place, but it'll be minimal Sheridan technology on this campus by the end of this fall.
All the classrooms will be Gillette College.
And is there Canvas access for just Gillette classes, or is it for the?
The Canvas is out of Sheridan because that's their LMS, it's their systems. Now we'll be looking at bringing up our own, but it's to work with colleague, and it may just be that subset. But primarily the students are still Sheridan, so Sheridan still has to provide those services to them.
Thank you.
Renee, for those of us that aren't in that world, what is LMS?
Learning management system, so like Canvas.
I see her. Okay. All right. Any other questions for Dr. Robert?
You suppose we could have a college rodeo team? Honor them
Yeah, she said they're gonna come.
They'll come when they come back in the fall.
In the fall.
In the fall.
in the fall.
In the fall. So I'm sorry, Trustee McGrath, I have one more thing. Look at what Camco Credit Union is developing, a college prom debit card.
A debit
Oh.
card.
So they are finalizing the design right now. A couple of the fonts are off, but I should have that final design. I've asked to be the first recipient of the Pronghorn debit card. We'll see if that happens. But let us know if you're a Camco debit credit, you can get a Just College Pronghorn debit card.
Great.
And the only other thing I would mention is through the stuck and mud, and the bridge looks like it's been stained. So it did drive by, maybe there was a man left stuck down there, but it got out and they did a nice job. So
And I would say, once again, that was not our team. It was
that's
our-
okay, even if it was, they got it out. And did what they could.
The walkway is still being stained, so then the lights will go up, and we'll do a lighting ceremony in August. Our management group felt that our faculty and staff should be there and students when we do that, so,
Absolutely.
yes.
Anything else for Dr. Overlander? All right, I'd like to bring up Executive Director of Gillette College Foundation, Heidi Gross.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Oh, wow. This volume is up there. Members of the board. Yes, as Dr. Overlander mentioned, we had some exciting news. We received a $150,000 grant from Just Transition to create an entrepreneurial ecosystem. And so what this will allow us to do is focus even more on that pillar that was identified, if you remember a while ago now, Rusty Bell with the Office of Economic Transformation shared the strategic plan that has been developed for the Office of Economic Transformation, and that pillar of developing a very strong that is such a hard word to say, entrepreneurial ecosystem was one of those three pillars. So we're thrilled about this funding. I have not yet received the grant agreement that's forthcoming, but we will need to spend all of these funds by May 31st of next year. So we'll have to plan that out carefully. So what those monies will be used for, there's money in there for the Startup Challenge that will be held later on this year. I think it's in December, and it'll be here at the college. Also some funding for the Entrepreneurial Project Manager, additional organizational support, including grant assistance. So that is one of the things that they do. If you've ever gotten on grants.gov, trying to find grant opportunities that really match your needs is not an easy thing to do. So they provide that grant assistance to really target those grants that are the best fit for you. And then they've also have funding in there for speaker and panelist events, as well as other social events and activities. So again, we're really excited. Dana Miller's been doing great work in this area. So we're excited to see what we'll be able to accomplish going into this next fiscal year. We also received another grant for $20,000 from the Wyoming Business Council. And what this grant is for, it's going to help kind of define and align economic development here in Campbell County. The college plays a huge role in that. So this grant will be used to pay for a consultant that's coming in. First session will be July 16th, and then we'll wrap up September 4th. And this consultant hopefully will be able to guide us and really pull all of the entities here together in Campbell County. So we're all going in the same direction, and we're really excited about that effort as well. In addition to that, the foundation approved a contract with Gonzer Gerber, and they are a consultant that's going to be working with the foundation to help us develop a campaign and major giving strategy. So we'll actually have our first session with our consultant in July. So looking forward to that. She'll be meeting with Dr. Overlander, members of the cabinet, myself, and our foundation board chair. So excited to get started with that work. Also, I think everybody knows that we were very fortunate and we received $1 million in state matching funds this year. So far we have got a $25,000 gift for a new scholarship endowment. So very excited about that. And I've been having conversations with several other donors, and Dr. Overlander has joined me in some of those as well, talking to them about the opportunity that this is going to give them and also the college to be able to match those gifts dollar for dollar. And we have to have all of those funds either pledged or actually received by the foundation office by April 1 of 2026. So there is a timeline, and if we don't have those funds accounted for, it'll go into a pool, and the state treasurer can open that up to other colleges. It's whatever they want to do. So we've got some work to do, make sure we don't lose any of those monies. Let's see, in July, we'll start audit prep. We'll be make sure that we're fast tracking that this year. My hope is to get everything completed on my end by the end of July, and then our auditor will get his work done in August, no later than first part of September, so we can have that ready to roll into the district's audit for approval in October. And then a couple of events coming up this summer. Of course, we have WYO Gives coming up July 10th. That's a statewide day of giving, 24 hours. So we are eligible for a matching gift again this year. So I encourage all of you to support your favorite charities here in Campbell County. There are quite a few of us participating. I know statewide there's over 330 nonprofits that are participating. So last year they raised over $10 million. So it's just growing and growing every year. So please keep that in mind. You can go to wyogives.org, and then you can search by Gillette or Campbell County and find your favorite charities to support. And then my last thing is we have our annual golf scramble coming up. I think this is year 23. We've had a lot of golf tournaments. We've got 27 teams so far, so a few more teams to fill. The tournament is going to be August 23rd at Bell Knob Golf Course. And with that, I would stand for any questions.
Any questions for Director Gross?
Yes. With the WYO Gives match, does it money donated then also qualify for the state match?
No, not unless it would be over $10,000. Yeah, because that's the dollar amount on that. So yeah, I can't take like the WYO Gives donations and submit those. And they also have to be set up either for a scholarship endowment or a program endowment, or the trustees approved at the last meeting that also gifts for construction for the NZ building. So those are the areas that we'll be able to use the state matching dollars for. You're welcome.
Chairman McGrath. Director Gross, can you get on that site anytime to donate already, or does that have to be on that day?
It only opens at 12:01 midnight, so you have to wait because it's 24-hour period. So you just get on there, you can get on there right at midnight. And there was a change made this year, which is great. Before that $1 million match, they were trying to time it so when there was $1 million of donations made, the match got cut off. This year, they've made some changes. So now it'll be more on a pro rata basis. So all gifts will be eligible for some part of that match rather than trying to get a mad rush done before noon. Because last year, I think they ran out before noon with that $1 million match. So, yep, 12:01, you can get online and make your gift.
I would imagine you might get an email or two that day from.
You might get an email reminder or two.
I
Yes,
just-
there will be some coming out.
Last year, I remember, yeah, they were running out of matches,
Yes,
yeah, early, so,
yeah,
Excellent.
thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other questions for Director Gross? Well, thank you very much. Great work.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
You don't have a team in golf tournament?
Yeah.
Moving on to old business, second and final reading of policy 3000.5, the alcohol and drug policy. Dr. Overlander.
Chair McGrath, trustees, this is your second reading. There were no changes made or requested by the trustees for this policy. And as a reminder, the only change that was made is in that first paragraph, we added in policy at the end of that paragraph, and then we removed those pieces of this policy that were procedure. Only changes that were made to this policy.
Chair McGrath, I would move to approve the second and final reading of policy 3000.5 alcohol and drug policy.
I'll second.
Thank you very much. Trustee Key moved and trustee Smith second to approve the final, second and final reading of policy 3000.5 alcohol and drug policy. Any questions or discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right. Moving on to new business. The approval of the 24-25 public meeting calendar. Has everybody had a chance to look at it? Is there anything that, anybody has a reminder? Obviously, next month we will be meeting right at 11:30 at the Wright Town Hall. But then beyond that, any other discussions?
Chair McGrath, the only thing I would draw your attention to, and I believe we added these last year and took them off, so at the pleasure of the board, we did add May 21st as your budget workshop, and then June 17th as your public budget hearing. We can remove those two pieces if you'd like. We just thought we'd put them on so they're on your radar and our radar.
I don't see any reason to remove them. Anybody else up there?
We historically had done the hearing in the afternoon, is that right?
This year we
We've done
did
them
it.
in the afternoon before.
We did it once before, but this year we did it at 10 a.m. right before.
The workshop, the budget workshop right before.
The hearing though,
It's always in the evening.
right.
Well, yeah, the hearing is in the evening, actually, and I think you're correct. And I think if it's pleasure of the board, I think that's probably what makes the most sense. We did that budget hearing at night.
It should be Tuesday at 5.
Yeah, Tuesday at 5 o'clock,
We'll make that change.
Like, is it 5 or 5?
5:30, 5:30.
You want it at 5:30?
I don't
We did it
care.
at 5 this year, but we can make it 5:30 next year.
I think 5:30 is more feasible for wanting the public to
Yeah.
come.
Well,
Not that we have a lot, but
that's a good point.
so with the changes discussed, I would move to approve the 24-25 public meeting calendar.
I'll second it.
Did I hear Wasberg? Okay. Then it's been moved by trustee Gee and seconded by trustee Wasberg with the changes, just with a minor change on the 17th to 5:30 p.m. To approve the 24-25 public meeting calendar. Any other discussion, questions? Seeing. Okay, seeing none. All those in. Oh, yes, sir.
Are we taking a bus? Right. Or we all driving?
At the pleasure, Chair McGrath, at the pleasure of the board, we can make arrangements to take a Pronghorn bus, or we can drive individually.
Trustee Palmer.
From a risk management standpoint, I would say that we don't have all of the trustees at once.
Such a good point.
We appreciate you. Thank you very much for that. All right. Any other questions or thoughts to the schedule? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right. Pronghorn Center, no, Pronghorn Center, remodel approval.
Chair McGrath and trustees, we've talked about this remodel in the past. This is the space for the Energy City Voices. What we'll remodel is that storage room just off the track. We had originally thought we would build and construct new storage space, but upon the recommendation of Facilities Director Marty Wolf, really expensive to do that. And it's much more affordable for us to buy some movable trailers to store the chairs and the staging that gets moved up and down in a different location. The reality is right now, all of those pieces are upstairs. Anytime we have an event, we have to one by one go to the elevator, take it down. So actually storing them in trailers will be much more efficient for our team because they can bring them right down to the floor. And so this quote is less than 400,000, but anything that is above 250,000 has to go to the Wyoming Community College Commission for approval. So we need your approval to move this forward into the October commission meeting. So this project will be delayed likely until the beginning of 2025, or maybe even the summer of 2025. We'll just have to look at schedules. So that's what we're seeking today is your approval. Now, I do know that we need to work with our architects before this, the group that prepared this to create some ground clears, and we'll absolutely do this before this goes to the state.
I hope their building is better than their stone.
Yeah, and we will work with them. And at the pleasure of the board, if you would like us to have another architect take a stab at this, we can certainly do that as well. But we will absolutely ask the architectural firm to make those corrections.
Will this be acoustical setup for the singing? It'll have a soundboard
It will.
and everything?
It will. Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. It'll be a space, a permanent home for Energy City Voices. We'll soundproof those walls. I don't think they want to hear practice happening and Energy City, they don't want to hear Energy City Voices singing. So we'll soundproof those walls, make it acoustic for them. Build some offices for the staff. It'll be a lovely space.
Okay. Do you need a motion?
I do need a motion, please, for,
So I so move to, and I guess would be to proceed with the remodel of the Pronghorn Center, and present to the Wyoming Community College Commission at their October meeting.
That's correct.
Second.
and let me just, so what I have, not to exceed 400,000, is that, so. Are you okay with that? I'm very good with that, okay. Trustee Williams, you okay with amending, with that part of your second? So it's been moved by trustee Palmer and seconded by trustee Williams to approve the Pronghorn Center remodel and move to the Wyoming Community College Commission not to exceed 400,000.
Can I just ask a question? It notes in here, trailers for the storage. Just trying to envision what that looks like and where they would sit.
So our facilities director, Marty Wolf, will purchase the trailers that can be towed back and forth, and they will likely be stored behind the tech center near the building that's right behind the tech center. So in that those parking lots.
Like trucker trailer boxes or?
They won't be as big as a semi. They'll be more along the lines of an enclosed trailer or a Connex,
Okay.
but they'll be movable.
Mr. Chairman, so trustee he brings up an interesting point. If we stored them on that piece of property that we're looking at acquiring, would that meet the city's requirement of having a facility on that property? Just a.
Maybe, but then we have the zoning.
And as we look
Oh,
at
that's coming
the
too.
changes to the Connex.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Well, I mean, there is a fair bit of land there, obviously 6 acres, and then frankly, even to the south of the Pronghorn, or the north of the Pronghorn Center, that's vacant land right now, that would make sense to potentially put it in there as well.
I just aesthetically want it to not be.
Eyesore.
Yeah.
The focal point as you drive through.
Yeah.
That was a very significant conversation when we were talking about how do we accommodate that storage, and no, we just can't set Connexes somewhere. They've got to be aesthetically pleasing because we have a beautiful campus and we don't want clutter. on this campus.
And then as you start to put them in parking lots, then you affect the parking for the events, which can be fun at times as well, so.
So we have parking just to the west of the facilities garage behind this. That could also be used for that type of storage.
Okay,
Sorry to delay your vote.
no, that's okay. Any other questions for this? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Excellent. Move on to the approval of the First Amendment to Agreement for Purchase and Sale of Real Property. So that is in regard to the covenants that currently exist. They're on your board, but to the covenants that currently exist, and it does restrict a little bit while it does say it does allow for higher education. There are some things that it does not allow for if in the event the college would want to move in that direction, such as I'll defer to Dr. Overlander,
Sure.
coffee shop or.
Yeah, so Chair McGrath, trustees, as legal counsel Horning was reviewing and I was reviewing, there were just some red flags that really could limit us to what we want to use that property for. And so upon consultation with city council and city attorney, we have just asked for these covenants to be removed as we begin the final stages of purchasing this property. And certainly I will use executive privilege and pass this conversation and details to legal counsel Horning.
I think that covered it. The covenants, conditions and restrictions were put on in 2002 for the tech center phase 1, and it just envisioned something that hasn't come past. So that when we met with the city administrator, the city attorney, and just proposed to them that the request was if they would be willing to consider just removing it. And they are willing to consider that. And rather than have them pressed at exactly whether it would be just a removal, an absolute or partial, we just propose, can we just have more time for our due diligence period? Because up until the end of our due diligence period, we can't terminate the agreement for any reason, no reason. So all we've done is push back the due diligence date to address this issue. It's that simple.
And they approved it last night at their council?
Yes, they did.
Just so everybody up here understands, they approved it to extend it. So all we're voting for is to extend our due diligence period. Not for any of the, just, you know, you can't sell boats and RVs on there.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
So,
I'm gonna do something else.
I have a vote.
You do have a vote, sir.
any questions on this? Well, then I would entertain a motion to the First Amendment.
I move to approve the First Amendment to the Agreement for Purchase and Sale of Real Property.
Excellent.
Second.
Thank you. So I didn't die for a laugh. Trustee Anderson moved and trustee Gee seconded to the agreement for the purchase of the sale of real property. Any question or further discussion on this? Yes, sir.
Is there, maybe I missed it, I apologize, Mr. Chairman, is there a time frame for this?
There is, yes, it is now,
September 1. September 1.
yes. That's the extension is
It
through,
shouldn't.
is through
Yeah,
September
it's
1.
in there.
That's in the amendment. Any other questions? Good question. Very good question. All those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, nay. All right, motion carries. Shall extend. Discussion on the purchase of the compact wheel loader.
Chair McGrath and trustees, this is the expertise area of Vice President Larson and Bill Brandt, who, by the way, is the director of our grounds. So just happy to recognize him and his team for the beautiful work they're doing this summer. I haven't had to ask for one week to be full this summer. So this is a beautiful, we did a great job, and we get compliments from our community often about how beautiful our campus is. So Bill, thank you, and thank your staff for all the hard work that you do and all the hard work that they do as well. So Vice President Larson.
Yes, great. Well, thank you, Chair McGrath and trustees. Our ground supervisor brought him up because I'm not an equipment specialist. And if you have any questions on what I'm about to share with you, he will have to be the one to answer them. But we would like you to consider purchase of a front wheel loader. We are currently underpowered for moving snow, moving gravel, hauling heavy equipment, doing earthworks and various grounds work around the campus. We do have a small
Kubota tractor that we've been using. We have overloaded it, broken the front axle, doing damage to the engine, with all the work that we're trying to do that it's just not, it doesn't have the capacity for. So a couple of points we would like for you to consider. For every 4 inches of snow, this piece of equipment will save us 2 hours of snow removal work. The lifting capacity is 8,300 pounds versus 2,000 for the current tractor that we have. Also has a speed of 5 miles per hour faster, which helps us keep up when the snow gets blowing pretty good. We also will use this to remove snow at the rodeo barn after large storms. Not uncommon to have 6 to 8 foot drifts, which our current tractor just can't handle. And then with the lifting capacity, we'll be able to unload heavier deliveries as well as move these Connex boxes that Dr. Overlander just mentioned. So if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer, but that is other than, so what we would, I guess, sorry, let me just, what we'd like you to consider is the quote that is there in your packet. There are 4 different options. We like option number 3. Kind of a happy medium between monthly cost and interest rate. But happy to answer any questions that you might have.
One moment here. I'm assuming that it comes with, a question I might have, that it comes with, as far as the front end, is there a bucket and a blade then if you're gonna plow?
It comes with the bucket, and then we already have a snow pusher that works for the loader.
Oh, you have the attachment? already?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. As well as forks, is that what you said? Okay. So you guys are asking us to consider option number 3.
Well, whichever option you prefer, we would be happy to do. That's just the one we were suggesting.
Okay, trustee Palmer.
But I say thank you, Vice President Swanson. I see, Mr. Chairman, that option number 2 is a quicker payoff and also a warranty.
Correct.
So I'm just wondering if that pay, is that, I mean, with the difference between, was it about $600, I presume,
Right.
between the 2 for the monthly
Right.
payment? Is that something that, I mean, is that, can we expense
Can we
that out?
swing it?
Yeah.
Yes, Chair McGrath and trustee Palmer, that it's not gonna hurt us one way or the other. Any one of those options, we can work into our cash forecast.
And also, I mean, it lowers the overall cost to purchase, Mr. Chairman. That would be my recommendation.
Okay,
If we can do it.
so the total cost to own at 107,570, just so everyone's aware, versus 112.
Right.
So has there been given any thought to just purchase it outright?
We haven't given any thought to that. We just went with what they quoted for us. We could certainly go back to them and ask them what we wanted, what we could do.
I mean, essentially, we purchased it outright at 98, essentially, well, no, 97, 384, correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Is there? How does that work?
We could certainly go back to them and negotiate further and just say, what's your best price if we, give you cash today, kind of thing.
And how does that work into your cash forecast?
Oh, well, it probably won't be a problem. We, one of the things that I talked with trustee Palmer about yesterday is, from a cash perspective, where we're ending the year versus where we thought we would end the year 12 months ago, because of the extra funding that we received from the county and because of some delayed spending, there will be money to carry forward, and this can come from that. That's where it currently sits in the, yeah.
So the next question I would have then, if we choose to go with one of these per se option 2, is there any prepayment penalty if we were to choose to pay it off early? Because then that fits in the.
I don't know the answer to that. Good question.
Okay.
I will find out. Do you know? No.
So I wouldn't guess there's a prepayment penalty, but again, I would like to know that. I mean, I don't have any problems approving one of these options, but condition upon if the board decides to purchase it outright, then I don't want a prepayment penalty to pay extra because we decided to pay it off Such. Chairman, trustee Palmer.
Mr. Chairman, I don't want to lengthen this discussion, but I am curious, is this a local vendor?
The,
Ferguson's the local vendor, correct? And
Yes.
Because I see the billings address, but I
Yes.
just want to make sure that we're getting.
like Steve Gross works for Torres.
Okay,
Exporter of Gillette College, but I mean, that's, I don't know if that's what we're going through, but yes.
I would agree with you, sir. I think if we could just purchase it, that's the best way to do it. And then whatever the warranty is.
How about this? How about I move to approve the acquisition of this loader for $97,384. Giving the latitude to our CFO to either purchase it outright or under option 2 with the added interest as indicated. I will let them decide what's best.
Sounds great to me.
Second.
Okay.
Do we have an adequate trailer to transport it between rodeo grounds and here?
No, due to its weight. So we had rode it from campus to rodeo.
private,
Yep.
Oh, is it capped?
Yes. And he did. And, yep.
Awesome roads on the way too.
We just need to wrap it with the Pronghorn logo.
Okay.
Chair McGrath, trustees, what I would just add is our facilities team, all encompassing, when we have a snow event, they are all hands on deck. And they have done phenomenal work with the equipment we've had, which has been short, right? And so this really is going to enhance the ability for us to get campus open, to keep it open, but also help our employees not to be so much out in the weather, so much time. They really come in at 3 a.m. and work until the campus is clear. And then they start all over again during a snow event. So this really will be really important to our team. So thank you for your support on this.
Yeah, great point. You don't have to sell me on it. I think that makes sense. So 100%. So any other questions or thoughts on this?
Did we get a second?
We did. We got, so it's been moved by trustee Gee and seconded by trustee Palmer for the purchase, giving the latitude to Vice President Larson for the purchase of the wheel loader for the purchase price of $97,384 with the latitude to finance it if we need be.
Under option.
It's under option 2. Thank you very much. Under option 2. Any thoughts or further questions on that? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion. You got a wheel loader.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming.
You're good, thank you.
Moving on to the discussion of the Brightly software.
Chair McGrath, trustees, so this also is a facilities and maintenance software package. We have the first iteration, which is implemented and working, and now we're ready to move to the second installment of this, which will help us with maintenance across the campus. But again, it is Vice President Larson's wheelhouse. She knows much more about it. So Vice President Larson.
Sure, thank you, Dr. Oberlander. So as she stated, we have purchased the work order system, which allows anyone anywhere on campus to hop on their computer and say little things like, this restroom needs more toilet paper, or someone just broke a window in Maine, or, whatever. And the maintenance team will receive it and dispatch a work order to either custodian, maintenance, or, I'm forgetting, grounds. So, and it's great because we can get labor hours for these tasks, and we can track that, and we can kind of do some planning and understanding of where our team is working. But it's pretty minimal in terms of what this Brightly system can do. So what we'd like to do is enhance the system. This request will bring in building and equipment maintenance to the whole system. So everything will come in, the team will come in, they'll do a facility condition assessment. The Brightly team will, and they will tag every single one of our pieces of equipment, our buildings, everything in the building. You have a list there of things that will be included. Doors, windows, roofs, generators, HVAC equipment, lighting, sprinkler systems, garage doors, everything. So that now when someone gets a work order to work on something, they can not only add their labor, they can also add any materials that they're putting into that piece of equipment. And we can get a much better picture because we'll be able to run analysis on specific buildings, specific areas of campus, or even specific air conditioning units. So the system will also create preventative maintenance work orders. So once they're finished loading all the inventory into the package, we'll be able to run a report on an air conditioner, say, and the maker and the type of machine and when it needs maintenance will be created in the system. And then every day, a work order list of preventive maintenance gets kicked out. And this will just be very helpful to us when we are trying to create a preventative maintenance plan, when we're trying to understand the cost of this, of all of it, preventive maintenance, as well as just all the work that we do with everything on campus. It'll also be very important to help us comply with the anticipated state reporting. There was talk about legislation in this most recent session that the colleges would have to start reporting their preventative maintenance efforts and the costs and the plan, their work order plan for budgeting. So we worked with Brightly initially, and I will tell you that they were just a really fantastic vendor to work with in terms of system implementations. Always very responsive, very supportive, very helpful to each individual member of the team. Really know their package and their equipment, and just very helpful. So it's a great program. And so we would just like you to consider, we're not necessarily asking for a motion in this meeting unless you feel compelled to do so, but we just wanted to kind of get you aware of this package.
Chair McGrath,
Yes, please.
Vice President Larson, what is the cost for the software?
So the initial, what do we call it? The facility assessment.
It's on page 2 of the
So the assessment itself is 57,000, but there's another part to that too. So each one of those items there come to about 70 something. But that we're already paying an annual fee to them for the work order system and subscription, and this will not increase that. So
Mr. That was my question, is how much are we already paying?
we're already paying $8,700 a year for the subscription.
So once we get through this custom FCA and the barcoding and stuff, what would we have to do each year beyond that?
Each year beyond that, we just need to add new equipment as it comes in, new air conditioning units. I just keep using that as an example. If we buy one, it has to be entered into the system, newly tagged and added to the list. And then the information that we add will kick out the new work order.
And so we do that.
Yeah, we will do that going forward, but just to get it all done at once is beyond our capacity in terms of number of people that we have.
So there's no maintenance cost outside of our staffing once this is implemented?
It's part of the 8,700
No
we're already
additional.
paying, no additional, correct?
So the 8,700, once we get through the 74,000, like it's been asked, then it's just gonna be 8,700 a year ongoing.
Correct.
Chair McGrath.
Trustee Westberg.
So is this something, Vice President Larson, that we've been put into the budget? Did we think about this a year ago?
Yes, it's part of the budget,
Okay.
the current year.
Trustee Paul.
Mr. Just an observation, I compliment you on seeking this out. I think from a preventive maintenance standpoint and from an inventory standpoint, I think it's a good investment to determine what the true, I guess, health of the plant is, of all of our facilities and what ongoing maintenance needs to be done. I guess I would support this, and if it's approved, I would certainly share that partners in the community that own the facilities that we're currently occupying, that we're doing this, because I think it's a benefit to them as well.
I would agree. Thank you for that. Anybody else? Okay.
you want a motion, Mr. Chair?
Well, I would certainly entertain a motion if it's the pleasure of the board to do that.
I would so move.
One question I would have, again, going back to almost the discussion we just had, are we okay with if we do purchase this today, that
Yes,
in your estimation, everything's good?
yes, Chair McGrath. This is part of our budget and currently in my list of items that we're spending before as part of this fiscal year.
23-24 fiscal.
24 fiscal year, yep.
Any other questions? Okay, it's been moved by trustee Palmer and seconded by trustee Anderson to purchase the additional items from Brightly Software in the amount of $74,072.25. Any questions? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
You can do that at my house.
Sometimes though, you wonder, might regret what you wish for, and you find out all the things that are really have issues, you're like, oh dear God, here we go. Just as somebody who just replaced an air conditioner this week.
Yes.
You never know you need it until it doesn't when it's
That's
81
right.
degrees in your bedroom and you can't sleep, so.
Yeah.
I did that this weekend.
Moving on, committee reports. WACCT,
I guess I'll start.
thank you.
We spent 2 days in Riverton, some 3, and with Dr. Overlander and trustee Williams. And we had a spring workshop and there were 4 legislators there. And they were all positive, of course, for a community college. But they were really, they wanted a better story told about our students and progress, and they also asked if we could better educate the public on mill levies and property taxes. Seeing as how that's going to be the next, well, it's going to be a push every year down there. We had actually that day was a very educational day. I thought it was very good. Then the next day was the actual meeting, WACT, and pretty much was straight business there. We kind of went through marketing. We're changing accountants, so that budget's a little bit postponed too. And but it'll be happening. And then we pretty much covered Wyoming Business Council, what we have to do with that. They're having a Laramie, you probably all got something in the mail at WyoTech to promote. And I think Aaron's doing something down there for a reception, but did I miss anything, Mr. Williams or Dr. Overlander? I'm sure I did.
I kind of squished a little bit when we find out that Sheridan is going to build a $20 million science. So, and I run through my mind, man, we sure need this NC facility. Probably a lot more than they need, that science facility. So, and that goes towards legislation, I think, the next in 25. But anyway, I'm happy for them, but I was really not happy that we didn't get it. You know. And Dr. Overlap, where do you think the state is, Larry? With really supporting what we're trying to do. Did we mention that down there? The NZ's Innovation Center, was that discussed at all?
Chairman McGrath, trustee Williams, I don't think that was the focus of the WACT meetings. And with the Wyoming Community College Commission meeting, they were doing new capital construction projects. So with the NZ building being part of last year's projects, really wasn't a topic of discussion. Now, it certainly is still on our minds, absolutely, is as we go forward, what does that look like? Once we attain accreditation, do we have the opportunity to go back and ask for support? Absolutely, we do. Other colleges have done that. There's been other buildings that were started with no state funding and then they went back to the process and got support from the state. So, but that was not a focus during these meetings or wasn't on the agenda for the WACT or the commission meeting this time. So we don't right now meet the conditions to receive state funding, of course. And once we do, I think that's another conversation.
Sure. Probably the most important part of it, I overlooked because it is just common sense, but the 8 community colleges all agreed to pitch in and get a new ROI.
Yeah.
Which is very well needed. I think the last one was well before COVID.
15.
So we
15 or
can all
16.
have up-to-date numbers on enrollments, on cost of education for all the students statewide. And I think it was very gracious. They didn't even ask the commission or WACT to help. Last time, I think they each took a third. This year, the 8 presidents took it upon themselves, say we need this bad enough that they're gonna get it done. And they should be commended on that, I think.
What is an ROI?
Return on investment.
So
It's that economic impact
Yeah,
study.
economic. So that's my report, Chairman.
Thank you.
I
Anything
might
else?
add that
Okay.
I have a Dr. Overlander of milkshake because she beat me home. And she went to Casper and I went over the mountain way,
And you have bit more.
but she didn't stop and have a milkshake in KC or stop at the Dash Inn coming through Buffalo.
I drove straight through the Midwest. That's what it's.
Trustee Palmer. Okay. Anything further on WACT?
Sure, I would just said it was a really good meeting. And we really enjoyed hearing from Speaker Summers, Representative Northrup, Senator Northrup, I might be calling him wrong, and Lloyd Larson. And then and I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the other legislator that joined us, but really good conversation and support for the community colleges. So we have support in the legislature and we'll keep working on it.
Okay. Moving on, public comment.
Can I add sort of a committee report, I guess?
Yes.
The Association of Community College Trustees Annual Leadership Conference is being held in Seattle, October 23rd to October 26th. It will feature renowned keynote speakers, peer-to-peer and expert presentations designed to advance governance and student success. So that is something that we might consider sending representation to.
Absolutely.
We'll also, the Phi Theta Kappa student that Kayla Amos will be recognized at the end of that meeting, but it should also, all the information should be in your trustee minutes.
Excellent. Anything else? All right. Moving on to public comments. I don't know if there's anybody written down, but if there are any public comments? None? Okay. You want me to discuss the upcoming events prior to our executive session or?
Might want to.
Okay. As you can see, your upcoming events, June 27th is the legislative breakfast, 7:30 a.m. Tech Center boardroom, so right here. That will be another opportunity for Trustee Williams to advocate for your cause.
Our cause.
Well, our cause, but yeah, I mean, sorry. Your comment. July 17th, Board of Trustees meeting in Wright. Just as a reminder, we will take bearing vehicles. August 7th through the 26th is the filing period for trustees at the county clerk's office. So we remind you the deadline is August 26th, so that everybody, because that is a general election ballot. So being that all 7 of us are up for re-election, please head on down and get signed up, please.
I think it's important to remember, this is the only year all 7 go up. It starts the
Correct.
staggered terms. There's only one other board who has them. I think Powell has 5. Anybody else has floor?
August 20th is the Welcome Back Luncheon sponsored by the Advisory Board, 12 p.m. at the Tech Center Flex Space. 23rd, again, the Foundation Scramble. Get your teams. It's always a great time. August 26th is first day classes, so that's pretty exciting. Summer will be disappointingly over before we're ready.
Much play.
We have any action coming out of?
No action. I think we're supposed to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at this point, I would entertain a motion to enter into executive session for Wyoming Statute 16.4.405 and 16.4.405A2, 16.4.405A3. No action coming up. Thank you.
Second.
Lord Anderson. Moved and seconded. Enter into executive session. Any further discussion? All those signify by saying aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Susan, welcome to Gillette. Thank you for covering. Enjoy our wonderful community going forward. Thank you, everybody that presented. Yes, me, Mike.